Hello everyone, welcome back to another week of meals that we're having during our pantry clean out. Today I'm getting started early on our dinner, putting it in the crock pot. This is Tikka Masala, and I love that sauce pack from Thrive Market. And then to just make the sauce go a little farther, never know which way to use that word. I'm putting a can of coconut milk in there and just some frozen chicken. And then actually we were leaving the house this day, so I got it started like on a time delay. Then when we got back home, I'm just starting some jasmine rice, and then we're having just a pack of broccoli. I like to get these microwave packs. They're really good for a quick side for dinner, and that is what dinner looks like for this night. Next day, Tuesday, I'm getting started really early in the morning actually because I'm preparing this for the next day, but I'm doing Instant Pot, Wendy's chili, and then I'm also making homemade hot dog buns for that night because we're having hot dogs. But we end up going to Great Wolf Lodge the next 2 days after this, and so I brought a pot of chili with us, which I love to do because none of us like to leave the water park and get all showered and ready to go out to eat, and we don't love the food at Great Wolf Lodge. So just browning up my meat, onions, peppers, and then I have pinto beans, kidney beans, rotel. There's 2 cans of tomato sauce. And I believe the original recipe called for another can of diced tomatoes, but I had the salsa that I'm trying to use up during the pantry challenge here, so I just decided to use some extra salsa and a chili seasoning pack. They only had the hot kind, which was very hot. And I can't find ranch pinto beans, so I always add some ranch seasoning because I just can't find ranch beans where I live. Then you just add some water, and I would have actually added a little bit more water to this because it did kind of stick to the bottom a little bit. But then you just put it on high pressure for 10 minutes and let it do a natural pressure release, and then that is all ready to go. So then I just cool it down and pack it up for the next day. So then we are having leftovers for lunch this day with some fruit. I'm cleaning up some refried beans that I wanted to use up, and I just kind of made like a Taco Bell pintos and cheese type of thing with tortilla chips. Very delicious, and a lot of hot sauce there. So then for dinner, here are the hot dogs I was talking about. These are the beef hot dogs from Sam's Club, which I absolutely love. The family loves them. And when we don't have our grill out, I just bake them in the oven, and then I made homemade hot dog buns, which turned out really good actually. And I have a couple in the freezer that we're able to use for next time, just with a little salad on the side there. This is us at Great Wolf Lodge. I didn't pick up my camera while we were there. I really wasn't on my phone at all, which was glorious. So then I skipped a day, I think, I don't know, getting back from Great Wolf Lodge, but still working through this bag of quinoa, and I make this quinoa dip that's delicious. You just cook the quinoa according to the package, and then I drain a can of black beans, some salsa, some cheese, salt and pepper, mix it all together while it's still warm, and then we have it with tortilla chips. And you will see this reoccur, for a couple of days. It's a very filling, very delicious dip, and we like to eat it for lunch. Then for dinner, what are we having for dinner this night? I know I'm making biscuits here, and so I hardly ever use shortening, but in my buttermilk biscuits, that is one time that I do use shortening. So you just cut the shortening into the flour baking powder mixture, add in the buttermilk, and then with biscuits, you don't want to roll them out or anything. You kind of just want to mash it together till it sticks together. That's what makes them flaky. Cut them all out, and then I'm gonna bake those. Oh, I know what we're having for dinner this night. I think this is when we have breakfast. Okay, so I am working through these hash browns I had in my food storage. And so you just add boiling water up to the line and then close them up and let them set for about 5 minutes. And it rehydrates them. Then you drain all the water out before you cook them. I had this breakfast sausage that had been in there a while and I wanted to get that used up. So I get this from Sam's Club. It's a pretty delicious breakfast sausage, and I just package it out because it's way too many to eat fresh at one time, and so I usually have a couple packages in the freezer, but this one had been there a while, so I wanted to get it used up. So now I've drained off the water from the hash browns, put some butter in the bottom of a non-stick skillet. There's our biscuits all nice and golden. Then I also forgot that I had these peaches and pears that I canned. They're in the refrigerator. That is strawberry jam and then some peach jelly that we have with our biscuits. And you just crisp up those hash browns till they're brown. Sunday lunch, there's that quinoa dip again. We kind of just all did our own thing. Julia made herself a grilled sandwich. I am having some salad and this breakfast casserole that I keep forgetting to have for breakfast. And then for dinner that night, I am making Zuppa Toscana. So it's Italian sausage, onion, garlic, and you just brown that all up. Chopped up some red potatoes. Here's that whipping cream that I'm using from my food storage, and bone broth, which I always love to use bone broth for some more protein. Once it's browned up, you just add in the potatoes and the broth. And then I'm going to get out the bread for homemade croutons that I'm going to make with it. Once that bread is thawed, I just cube it all up. And then you're going to melt some olive oil and butter. Put a bunch of seasonings into that oil before you put the bread cubes in there. Salt, garlic powder, onion powder, Italian seasoning. And then I just kind of, it's not even really saute, it's just getting the bread to soak up all of that oil and stuff. And then I'm also pulling out this frozen kale that I had saved. Once it's cooked for a couple hours, you add the kale and the heavy whipping cream, and then I just leave it on warm for another couple hours, or probably within 30 minutes. That kale will be wilted enough to eat. So once the cubes have soaked up all of the butter and oil and seasonings, you just dump it onto a sheet tray and bake it. I think this ended up taking about 20 minutes, but you have to watch them close because those seasonings burn. Then we like to have it with croutons and Parmesan cheese. This night also, Sunday nights, is a good night to make popcorn. So I use avocado oil, and then I don't really measure anything. I just cover the bottom of the pot. Same thing with the popcorn kernels. I just cover the bottom of the pot. We like a nice big bowl, so I don't know, maybe that's 1/4 of a cup, I'm not sure. Just turn the heat on and let it go, periodically shake it, and then as soon as it's done popping, you pull it off. I like mine with some nutritional yeast. It's delicious. It makes it kind of like cheesy popcorn. And then I also like it with a handful of goldfish crackers. Okay, this is Monday lunchtime, still working on that quinoa dip. Julia decided to have leftover soup. And then I'm actually still working on that breakfast casserole that I keep forgetting to have for breakfast. It makes a great lunch too. For dinner this night, I thawed out a smoked sausage, and I'm going to make the kids some homemade mac and cheese. To do this, I just make a simple white sauce with butter. There's my noodles cooking, and those are those brown rice noodles, which I love from Azure. My trick with brown rice noodles is to take them off before they're done and then run cold water over them so that they don't keep cooking and turn to mush. So you just melt the butter in a saucepan and then you brown up the flour a little bit. I usually do equal parts butter and flour, and then so I did like 3 tablespoons of each, and then I did about 2 cups of milk. That's about the consistency that we like. And you just keep working the milk into there. Got my sausage all chopped up, the cooked noodles, and I just mix everything together in the baking dish so it's less messy, less dishes. That's kind of the consistency that we like. We like a thinner sauce because it will thicken up in the oven. So I know people have trouble with cheese sauces sometimes. Just make sure you take the pan off the heat and let it cool down for a minute. You don't want it bubbling at all because that will break the cheese apart. So once that has stopped, then I just handful by handful kind of do like a figure 8 motion with your spoon and just get it nice and melted, and then we just pour it all over the noodles and the sausage, mix it all together, which is kind of hard in the baking dish, but I don't want extra dishes, so I don't mind. Then I'm going to put extra cheese on top. As you can see, I'm using this Parmesan cheese, which was from like September, but still completely good. Aged cheeses like this don't really go bad unless you can actually see mold in them. And then I'm pulling out a package of broccoli for the kids. I'm actually gone for dinner this night, and so the kids handled dinner themselves. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we will see you in the next one.